Hello everybody, I'm Mike Connell, founder of Boston Making a Difference, here with another episode of BMAD Spotlight. And today we have with us a guy that can help you lose a couple pounds. His name is Jefferson Meyer, and he runs a company, Essential Health Systems. Jefferson, welcome to the show.
How we doing, Mike? Good to see you today.
I'm doing great, thank you. It's good to have you here. We've met on LinkedIn, which is a great place to meet people, and we're both local to Boston, so that's another good thing. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and what you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been in the health and wellness space for about 4 years now. I worked with a company called New England Fat Loss. If anyone of your viewers listen to sports radio, I'm sure you've heard of them, and had a great experience there. And since the pandemic hit, the company unfortunately shut down. So I've actually started my own business. It's called Essential Health Systems, as you mentioned. And, really what we're about is, just helping people get healthy and really getting, real conscious about the fuel that they're putting in their bodies, because that's how you're going to go and get the result you want. It's not about tricking the body into losing weight. It's not about, giving it prepackaged meals or anything like that. We just want to make sure we put the right stuff in and you'll get the right result out every single time after that.
So, you mentioned the pandemic, and that's been a challenge for, many. Some have thrived, some haven't. Obviously, sure. I guess New England Fat Loss didn't, which is unfortunate. But, tell us what you're doing during this pandemic time to help people.
Yeah, so for the first couple months, I didn't have a huge background in nutrition beyond beyond what I've found worked for me, and being in the gym and active my whole life. But through pandemic, I took time to get nutritionist certified through Cornell, and in terms of more of the day to day, I think it's just trying to stay busy, trying to not let all that free time at home really have lead us to the fridge and the snack cabinet each and every time that we get up or go to the kitchen or just walk around. And so I think really right now trying to keep some semblance of a routine is critical, because everyone's work schedules pretty much flipped upside down, everything like that. So yeah, I think it's definitely just about trying to keep busy, and still trying to help people make the right choices while they're in a tough situation.
That's awesome. I know, during the whole time you're watching TV if there's nothing else to do, and those snacks call my name. They know me, intimately. They call my first name and
Nice.
and tease me. So how do we ignore that call to the snacks?
Well, I think for snacking in particular, the brain is a giant habit machine, and if it gets conditioned to getting that thing, whatever it is. For some people it's sweet. I call it people's food kryptonites. But whether it's sweets, whether it's salty, whether it's whether it's alcohol, for some people it's different for everyone. But making sure that we have some sort of substitute set up. There's it's either we have to just get good at saying no and exercise that discipline muscle and conditioning that kind of muscle in our brains, or we need to make sure when those callings do come, we need to make sure we have something available to us that gets us close, like I posted on LinkedIn recently, like some things like frozen grapes or like frozen kiwis or like frozen berries, something like that can be, get us different person to person, how much you can kind of trick yourself in your brain. But those things to me are kind of like ice cream on like a otherwise clean day. I don't want to, basically ruin my whole clean eating day, like at nighttime, and just sabotage all the progress and momentum, as we'll talk about. Something like that is just a good little sweet treat in the middle of the night. It's refreshing, soothing while it was hot over the summer. But finding little substitutes like that are what are going to get you a lot of value. Especially if nighttime snacking in particular, it's tough for people are right now snacking like home from work, that kind of thing in the middle of the day. Just finding something else to put in the equation is going to help out a lot, I think.
So tell me, who's a good person, for you to talk to work with? Who's your ideal customer, I guess?
So, I guess the easy thing would be to say anyone who's overweight, but that's not entirely true. I have this one lady who I'm gonna be like sharing her story on LinkedIn. She had done the Herbalife, which is a company that just makes you like or ships you shakes once a month, and you replace a meal with those. She lost, like, after her third child, the weight had come up a little bit, and so she had struggled with weight for several years and lost like 15, 20 pounds over the course of 2 years, by doing Herbalife, replacing her meals, and all that stuff. But she struggled with that last 10, 12 pounds or so, for a couple of years. Even though she's at the gym 6, 7 days a week, she feels like she eats pretty clean. She's actually been doing the vegan thing for a while, but she couldn't get that the last mile in terms of trucking, which can be is the hardest mile in that industry. And so, it's easy for me to say anyone who's overweight, sure, they're an ideal client to go and, you know, I guess, similar to my parents, both my parents are very much overweight. Both of them are actually doing my diet right now. My dad's been on it for about 3 weeks and he's lost about 20 pounds. So for someone like that, it can be very dramatic, and, you're kind of, it can be more glorious, I guess, in terms of just sheer numbers lost. But for someone who's in a good position already, but they can't get that last little bit as well, I don't want to feel like, I think a lot of those people feel like they're, not like there's no one really trying to help them with that, and they're the people whose friends are saying, I feel like you look great already. Why do you need to lose any weight? And those people very often also don't feel like they have someone who they can go to for advice, because they're already doing a lot of things right, but there's clearly something, tripping them up. So, a terrible answer for who is my perfect client. Really anyone who's looking to get to work and is looking to make a change, and maybe get rid of some of the things that they think that they've learned along the way, or at least be willing to, hear an alternative method in terms of how to get you to where you want to be. That kind of person's the best kind of client. Military men and women are the best clients.
There's no shortage of prospects out there. America is pretty much overweight, which leads to diabetes and a lot of different health challenges. So there's good reason for us to, try to cut back and work with folks like you. So why don't you give us a few tips, for us guys with a couple extra chins, maybe what we can do to, at least get on a better path.
Sure. I think the very first one is going to be drinking more water. I don't think there's no substitute for water. Even like the seltzers and stuff, they're marginally less like absorbable by the body, things like that. So water's the quickest and easiest way to help your immune system to have better energy, to like, the list goes on absurdly. So drink water is the quickest and easiest. I think the biggest thing that a lot of people don't necessarily put much focus on when they're, let's say, trying to on their own eat nice and clean, and they're like, I'm eating lots of clean meals. We know proteins, veggies, fruits are good for us. But I'd say the biggest thing is a lot of people, especially women, will try and they'll do a good job at minimizing. If you've ever heard, like, people will be like, I've had plenty of clients be like, I cut a cookie in half, and I had half of that cookie, I did a good job, right? And the issue is whether you had
the cookie.
right, exactly. Or some people, it's that little bit of dairy in their coffee every day. They're like, I'm gonna have a perfectly clean breakfast, lunch, dinner. I'm gonna drink lots of water. I'm getting the soda out of my life. No desserts, nothing like that. But they start their morning off with that little bit of dairy and sugar, and all of the forms of inflammation. Really, I'd say the biggest trick for your listeners is, don't try to play the minimization game, because that's how you slow yourself down several times throughout the week, and you never really see much momentum. Whereas if you can go and kind of, like, if you ever heard of like essentially whole cheat days, or basically a whole day where you go and get all the bad stuff out of your system, whether it's a couple beers on a Sunday watching the newly reformed Patriots, whether it's going out to a nice meal with the family, or whatever it is, whether it's a cookout, those are pretty much done now. I want people to focus on isolating to specific times when we go into the bad stuff and throwing clean days on both sides of that, as opposed to having cheese and crackers one day, a glass of red wine the next day, and then a chocolate bar the next day. You'd be better off having all three of those things at one time with clean days on both sides, because momentum will allow you to go in, take a bunch of junk. Your body will have to go and address it. And again, whether it's a single, the sticks in clients' head a lot, but like your body'd rather have a whole bag of king size M&Ms all in one night rather than a handful every night for a week. Because again, it's just about how frequently it gets slowed down, not purely about volume. So that's probably the biggest thing, that along with water being just a general, everyone understands that.
Those are great. I agree with the water. I drink, a gallon jug of Kangen water every day, which is high alkaline water, and I love it. It's good for you. You do have to pee a lot, but that goes with it.
Cost of doing business.
Exactly. So Jefferson, why don't you tell us, if somebody in the audience is, feeling the challenge, or they're feeling up to the challenge of trying to get rid of those excess pounds, how do they get in touch with you?
Yeah, so I will fully concede that I am a new solo entrepreneur kind of guy, and I've taken some time getting all the little pieces started. So I do have a website. It's going to be up very shortly. Hopefully, actually, by the time this gets aired, it will be up. It is at the essentialhealthsystems.com. So just the same company name with the .com. And that's going to be the easiest way. You can also feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn is probably easiest, or find me on Facebook. My name is Jefferson Meyer. Again, maybe it'll be posted, maybe not even on the title of this. But yeah, social is the easiest way to connect. I will have a blog up on the website, but if you have any questions, if anyone can reach out to me on the social. It's the easiest way, I think.
That's great. Jefferson, thanks for those tips. When I feel guilty and I don't have those clean days surrounding my bad day,
Yeah.
my dirty day, is that what we call it? It's not a clean day.
However you want to look at it.
How do we get past that guilt?
So, I mean, honestly, again, it's really important to be okay with those days. I think if and this is one of the things for my clients that you learn over time is, let's say that if we do a good job, let's say about 2 times a week, we go and have those cheat days. All right. If we can limit it to those 2 cheat days, what's going to happen is you're going to see a very consistent pattern of, let's say on a Sunday night, because football's back on, let's assume that that's a cheat day for many people. We go off on Sundays, and again, I'm going to tell my clients it's a cheat day. I want you to have the nachos, have the couple beers, have the Dove ice cream bar, whatever it is. And that next morning, you're likely going to be up here. You're going to be at whatever our high typically is. And if you go back to the right stuff, again, proteins, veggies, fruits, just foods your body can quickly break down, get the good nutrients out of, and then get back to breaking down the inflammatory stuff before it turns into pounds of body fat. You'll see that when you start up here on Monday, you'll edge your way down Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. If you can go a few days, that's really what we're looking for, is give your body time once it gets bad stuff in to break it all down. It never turns into fat, and you don't see that scale ascend upwards over time. So again, if we can go and, make sure to, tell ourselves and then see over the course of time, when I have these bad days, I go up this much weight. I know that this many days later, I'll be back at where I started. And that's how you remove the stress, is you don't fear where that scale goes on any particular given day, because you know what the steps are to take it back down. That's how you go. And the easiest way, I say to a lot of people, because especially for women, again, not to keep harping on them, but the scale has a lot of emotional attachment, and there's a lot of history with a lot of women and the scale. And so it can be tough to separate the number at the bottom of it and how you feel about it. This takes, months, years for some people, but if you can, because stress can absolutely, lead to that scale going up over time and lead to inflammation. We definitely need to make sure that we get comfortable taking those cheat days, because you got to live, and that's why the all or nothing mentality is kind of dangerous, because if there is no, end in sight or something to look forward to, everyone's going to lose steam, and that's and I'd much rather see people go and have like a planned night every once in a while, rather than try to be perfect. They go X number of weeks or months, and then they misstep once, really beat themselves up, and then they're on a food bender and undo weeks or months of hard effort. That's the worst thing. So getting comfortable with what the scale says on it, whether it's up, whether it's down, shouldn't matter. It should be it's a reflection of what you did. Yeah, don't beat yourselves up.
That's awesome. Well, you gave us some great advice here today, Jefferson. That's Jefferson Meyer. If you want to talk to him, get in touch, and he'll help you drop those pounds. Jefferson, thank you for being here today. We appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much, Mike.
And for you out there, we'll see you on the next BMAD Spotlight. Thanks for being here today.